but I do want to dote on my boy. Kimi
Here's the
Antonelli had a
floor.
hell of a weekend.
Here's
He
the
had a hell of
floor.
a weekend.
Take it from me. Take it from me.
Look, we celebrated Lando Norris and his possible title clinching in Brazil. And so it's time to highlight the driver who finished in second place, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. And look, it was awesome. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of a cherry on top of my weekend. I'm a New England Patriots fan of all things. You know, beating a really good football team was pretty cool. Had a fun time with my friends. Celebrated a wedding. One of my best friends got married. And spent some really good time with my family. Like, it was Kimi Antonelli getting P2 was the cherry on top of my weekend. And it was a career best result for the Italian rookie. Became the first rookie driver to surpass Lewis Hamilton's single season points record with 3 rounds to go, which, by the way, I'm going to clarify this because I know people will get heated if I don't in the comments. If this was modern scoring when Lewis was driving in 2007, it wouldn't have been close. I'll put it out there right now because I know people will get pressed. He would have like 265 points, but the scoring is the scoring. The numbers were the numbers. Kimi Antonelli now has the rookie points record. But it's crazy that record held for so long. I'm going to give Lewis his flowers. Lewis was really and is still pretty special. But Kimi was rapid in free practice, second in the sprint qualifying, second in the sprint, second in the quali, and then finished P2 on the race Sunday, surviving that Piastri deep dive that DNF Charles Leclerc during the second yellow flag restart. Capped off his best weekend yet by holding off Max freaking Verstappen for second place on the podium. Did not flinch an inch when it came time to being pressured by the Red Bull. And I don't know, man. He went to Senna's grave. He soaked in all of that, Ayrton Senna pace that was emanating from that sacred place. And he really made that first sector his bread and butter this weekend. That was where I think he kept Max Verstappen at bay. But I think that there were a lot of questions quelled with this performance. There were times this year where the integrity of Antonelli was questioned by fans and pundits, not from me. But after a rough stretch in Europe, there were a lot of questions as, was this too fast to promote this kid up? But Kimi showed exactly what he was made of this weekend. In my opinion, the best drive of his rookie season. Year one, all the pressure, taking the seat of Lewis Hamilton, promotion with just 1 year of F2 experience, skipped F3, all the success in F4. And he's had some highlights this year, man. Round 1 in Australia, sprint pole Miami, first podium in Canada, now P2 in Brazil. The kid's meeting the moment. He's helped rocket Mercedes clear ahead of Ferrari for P2 in the constructors this season. And with a year of experience under his belt, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in 2026 and beyond. I've bought in. If you watch the podcast all season, first off, thank you. But my affinity for this Italian rookie. I'm really excited. I was very proud of the results personally. It really made my Sunday quite eventful. So all of my flowers out of the way. Khaki Kevin Walker. What were your impressions of Kimi Antonelli's performance in Brazil?
I never really questioned if he was the right move. I think that he had always been the right move. I think he had always been the move that made the most sense. And I'll say this much. A tip of the hat to the rookies this year, right? We had a good amount of rookie drivers this year. And a tip of the hat to them because a lot of them have kept this year interesting. But Kimi Antonelli by far was the one in the best situation to be successful. And it seems like over time is learning and adjusting and figuring things out to a point where if you're a Mercedes fan like Tristan is, you have no reason not to feel the utmost confidence for Kimi Antonelli and the future of Mercedes, be that with the direction they're taking, the contracts already taken care of. And if he's going to continue to learn and get better, he's merely 19 years old. I mean, the sky's the limit for Antonelli for sure.
I mean, to take it even a step further, I do give some credit to I do give some credit to the team bosses who decided to take risks on a lot of these rookies this year. Because
Toto
taking a huge swing on this rookie that he had a lot of faith in was one thing, which was awesome. But even to kind of reach back to what you were mentioning about all the rookies being pretty impressive this year, I've been hard on Franco Colapinto for a majority of this year. I heard about it in the comment sections a couple weekends ago, and that's fine. Look, that's fine. That's still my opinion. Don't get it wrong. I didn't say anything crazy, but look, like he's had some pretty solid form the last handful of weekends. An unfortunate DNF this weekend.
I'll tell you what. But when
like
Franco Colapinto's not DNFing, he's a pretty solid driver. The only problem is he DNFs too much.
You guys get him this time. Look, Franco, Alpine have enough confidence in Franco to say you're at least getting a drive for one more year, and we're walking into the next regulation with you. He's had some pretty impressive drives down the stretch. I'll give him some credit. He's had some DNFs for sure this year, whether during the GP Sunday, whether it was testing a new tire compound in Hungary, whatever. But Franco's doing enough of a job for Alpine within all of the mess that Alpine have to go, we're going to at least give this kid the next year. Gabriel Bortoletto's had some really impressive drives this year. He's a huge part of why Sauber are fighting for, a really strong finish to the end of this season for P7, if I'm not mistaken, in the Constructors' Championship. And Ollie Behrman's been incredibly impressive, mind you. He had a super impressive Mexico with a P4 and then finished, if I'm not mistaken, P5 in Brazil or P6. He was pretty high up there once again. I think it was Haas's best ever finish in Sao Paulo. And then Isaac Hadjar getting the podium in the Netherlands, inheriting it from a P4 that he earned on merit, by the way. He's been awesome this year. I still think he's going to get the Red Bull drive next year. You could argue that he's been the most impressive of all the rookies given the situation he's in. And circling back to Kimi, got dropped in. You could look, the best situation, certainly. The carve is the best. The infrastructure is probably the best. The team is the best. But the amount of pressure put on Kimi Antonelli's shoulders. Mind you, F1 pressure is still pressure across the board, but being dropped into a Mercedes seat at 18 years old and being expected to go after Lewis Hamilton leaves with all the fanfare and all of the the Netflix stuff and whatever else, that is a lot of added pressure. And he really has impressed me this year. He's met the moment a number of times. Mercedes knew that he was going to have some rookie moments. We all knew he was going to have some rookie moments. I think that there were certainly times this year where he was being blamed for things that were completely out of his control, especially when it came to a number of DNFs during the European season. But he had his fair share of mistakes during Europe as well that we held him accountable for here on the podcast. But he's been really impressive this year. And yes, the resident Mercedes fan of the podcast, I'm a huge fan of his. I think that he's been very impressive, especially down the stretch. Nearly grabbed a podium in Baku. The kid's doing the job. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do for the rest of his career. Mercedes seem to have made the right decision in Andrea Kimi Antonelli, not sticking him in the Williams or, having him sit in F2 for another year. This was the correct decision from Toto. And ambitious, but I like it. And all the rookies this year who have gotten opportunities, I'm a big fan of the team principals and the organizations themselves for taking the chance on some of these young guys when there's a lot of really good drivers that are available for a lot of these seats, with all due respect. You had guys like Bottas who are on the market that didn't get drives this year, who are not going to be driving again until next year. Checo Perez, similar situation, experienced Grand Prix winner. They passed up those guys for these rookies. So it's been awesome, though. I think a lot of questions were quelled this weekend from Kimi. It was awesome. I had to take a moment to highlight it because it really was an impressive drive. But I want to know what the TLPs think. Let me know any thoughts you guys have. Am I over the moon unnecessarily? Fight with me in the comments. Feel free.
Is he glazing too much?
I'll agree with you. Maybe, probably. But look, feel free to drop your comments. I want to know what you guys think down below.